Have you realized that true financial change doesn't begin at the bank, nor with a raise? It begins within you, with the words that come out of your mouth. Many people spend their lives chasing numbers, but they forget that every statement has power. Debt first settles in the mind and heart, and only later appears on your statement. That's why today we're going to talk about something deeper: how a covenant with God can transform your reality. I've experienced times when it seemed impossible to get out of the red. Debt surrounded me like walls, and I felt like there was no way out. But I discovered that the solution wasn't just spreadsheets or overtime, but my declaration of faith. When I learned to align my words with the promise of prosperity and abundance, I saw doors open that were previously closed. It's as if heaven had responded to my words immediately. Therefore, the first key I want to share is simple yet powerful: wealth is in my covenant with God. This phrase is more than an affirmation, it's a constant reminder that the power of words can activate divine favor, cancel debts, and pave the way for complete restoration. If you want to see your financial life change, stay with me until the end, because this prayer could be the turning point you've been searching for. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate the bell, that way you never miss any content that can transform the course of your life. Many people believe that financial change only happens when new money enters their account, but the reality is different. The starting point isn't the bank, but rather what you declare daily. Words build environments and shape futures. If you repeat phrases of scarcity, your mind becomes conditioned to live in lack. But when your declarations of faith are aligned with a covenant with God, prosperity begins to gain ground in the invisible before manifesting itself physically. I remember a time when everything seemed to be going wrong. My salary was falling, but my debts were mounting. That's when I realized that, beyond my effort, I was fueling the problem with my own words. Every time I said, I can't, or I'm broke, I was signing an invisible contract with scarcity. When I shifted my confession to words of abundance and divine favor, the atmosphere began to shift. It wasn't instant magic, but a gradual restoration that brought peace and clarity to my decisions. That's why I like to say that the power of words is like a key that opens or closes doors. A simple, I believe, can be the beginning of liberation from debt, and an, I prosper, can bring inspiration for new opportunities. This shift isn't just mental, it's spiritual. It's the alignment that transforms murmuring into a declaration of faith, debt into debt cancellation, and despair into trust. The question is, what words are you releasing into your own life? The first step to activating financial change is recognizing where true wealth comes from. In Deuteronomy 8 verse 18, we learn that it is God who gives the power to acquire wealth, not just human effort. When you establish a covenant with God, you are declaring that your financial life is under a higher authority, one that guides your decisions and protects your earnings. This is the time to connect deeply with the Creator and accept that He is the source of your prosperity. Praying sincerely is more than just reciting words, it's a heartfelt surrender. You can begin by giving thanks for all you've already received and acknowledging that, even in difficult times, divine favor is at work in your life. This recognition opens the way for restoration and debt cancellation, as well as preparing the ground for abundance. It's like planting a seed of faith: the more you nurture it, the more it grows. During this prayer, it's essential to declare your intention to live in prosperity and abundance, trusting that God will honor your commitment. Discuss your financial goals, but always within the perspective of serving, sharing, and investing in God's purpose. This covenant strengthens your faith, frees you from financial curses, and creates a solid foundation for future declarations and actions to yield concrete results. The words you speak have real power over your life. Proverbs 18 verse 21 reminds us that death and life are in the power of the tongue. Every sentence you speak is like a seed planted. Words of scarcity breed more hardship, while words of faith and prosperity attract abundance. It's time to take responsibility for your words and transform your statements into instruments of divine favor and restoration. An important step is to cancel any negative words you've spoken about yourself or your finances. Phrases like, "I can't pay my debts," or "I'll never prosper," need to be replaced with affirmations of self-worth, reminding you that you are the head, not the tail. Repeating these affirmations daily strengthens your faith and begins to reshape your financial reality. Furthermore, it's crucial that each word be accompanied by intention and feeling. It's not enough to simply repeat phrases, you need to believe what you're saying. By declaring prosperity and abundance, you create a spiritual field that attracts divine favor, accelerates opportunities, and prepares the ground for debts to be cancelled and restoration to manifest in your life in concrete ways. The Bible is full of examples of people who, by trusting in God, achieved prosperity and abundance even in the midst of challenges. Joseph, for example, went from slave to governor of Egypt, demonstrating that a covenant with God and faithfulness to God's words can transform impossible circumstances into extraordinary victories. His story is proof that divine favor and restoration go hand in hand. Isaac also teaches us about prosperity. Even in times of scarcity, he sowed and reaped abundantly because he followed God's principles. Elijah, in turn, trusted in divine provision to feed a widow and her son, and the oil did not run out until the famine had passed. These accounts show that prosperity depends not only on human effort, but on faith that activates the power of God's word and favor. And who can forget the widow of the olive oil? A small amount miraculously multiplied because she trusted in God's guidance and the promise of abundance. These examples serve as models for us to apply in our lives, declaring faith, canceling spiritual debts, and trusting that restoration and prosperity are available to all who align themselves with God. The first step to financial restoration is to acknowledge and forgive the times we doubt God's plan. Often, stagnation and debt arise when we let anxiety and fear control our words and actions. By asking for forgiveness and realigning our faith, we open the door for financial curses to be lifted and prosperity to flow naturally. Next, it's time to actively declare abundance and divine favor over your life. Words of faith and consistent affirmations can break negative patterns, undo spiritual debt, and transform seemingly hopeless situations. Imagine each declaration as a ladder leading you out of scarcity, each step strengthening your alliance with God and opening doors that previously seemed locked. Finally, combine this practice with concrete actions. Plan your finances with discipline, seek opportunities for growth, and keep your heart open to receive divine help and guidance. When we combine words, faith, and action, restoration becomes tangible. The promise is clear: divine favor, prosperity, and abundance can fully manifest in your life if you remain steadfast in your covenant with God. One of the pillars of prosperity is the practice of tithing, as taught in Malachi 3 verse 10. Giving in faith opens the door for divine favor to manifest in your life. It's not just about giving, but about trusting that God will multiply and restore abundantly everything you place in His hands. This principle creates a continuous flow of prosperity, helping you maintain balance and financial discipline. Furthermore, it's crucial to seek God's favor in all negotiations and decisions. Each choice can be guided by prayer and discernment, ensuring a safe path to financial growth. When we align our actions with divine principles, unexpected opportunities arise, debts are cancelled, and restoration occurs naturally, demonstrating that abundance is a consequence of faith combined with wisdom. Another essential point is understanding the purpose of wealth. Prosperity isn't limited to accumulating money, but rather using resources to help, invest in the kingdom, and be a living testimony of God's power. When the intention is clear and altruistic, abundance multiplies, divine favor remains constant, and each financial victory becomes an inspiring example for those seeking a fulfilled and restored life. Spiritual sealing is the stage in which we consolidate everything declared and initiated in prayer. It's time to ask for wisdom, discipline, and health, knowing that financial life cannot be sustained without emotional and physical balance. This request strengthens your covenant with God and prepares the ground for restoration and abundance to manifest concretely in your life. By declaring restoration and abundance, you seal your faith with confidence. Each word spoken at this moment is like a seal that protects your finances, canceling debts and opening doors to divine favor. It's important to repeat these declarations regularly, transforming the seal into a spiritual habit that keeps your mind and heart aligned with the promise of prosperity. Finally, always conclude this sealing in the name of Jesus, acknowledging that all authority and power come from Him. This act symbolizes total surrender, absolute trust, and the certainty that nothing can impede the flow of prosperity and abundance that has been established. It confirms that your covenant with God is alive and active, ensuring that every future step is guided by divine favor and full restoration. The time has come to extend a special invitation: enter into a financial pact with God and allow your life to be transformed. It's not just words or intentions, but a concrete covenant that brings divine favor, restoration, and abundance. Every decision made in faith strengthens your connection and activates the prosperity God has already prepared for you. Also, take the opportunity to support the channel through Super Thanks, a practical way to show your faith and help more people access life-changing content. Each gesture of support strengthens the mission of spreading teachings about abundance and prosperity, creating a cycle of blessings that return to you multiplied. Finally, share this video as an act of faith, allowing friends and family to also be reached by these words of restoration and divine favor. By spreading knowledge, you actively participate in the manifestation of abundance and further strengthen your own alliance with God, creating a multiplier effect that transforms lives and financial stories. Now that you understand the power of words, the importance of prayer, and the strength of your covenant with God, it's time to take action. Ask yourself, what statements have I been making about my financial life? Am I allowing faith and abundance to guide my choices, or am I stuck in thoughts of scarcity? Put the principles we've explored into practice: declare your prosperity daily, cancel debts with faith, trust in divine favor, and use your wealth to fulfill greater purposes. Remember that every action aligned with your covenant with God reinforces restoration and accelerates the flow of abundance. If you're ready to transform your financial life, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss content that strengthens your faith and teaches you how to manifest abundance. Share the video, apply the affirmations, and let your story become a living testimony of prosperity and divine favor.